Okay, so I'm going to go over part 3 of the algebraic expressions section here. So for these problems, the word evaluate is written here, and evaluate just means to solve the problem. And you need to get used to recognizing that word, evaluate, so that you know what it's asking you to do. So it's asking you to solve. So it says if y equals 3, you're supposed to solve y plus 4. So in this problem, you're going to take this, and I'm going to plug it in over here. And then instead of the y, I'm going to put the 3 in its place. And now I'm just going to add. Same thing here. Put the 3 in its place. So you substitute the 3 in the location of the y, or you just plug it in. I use the term plug it in, and then you solve from there. Okay. For this problem, you are multiplying. So remember, when you have a number next to a variable, you are assuming that you're multiplying. And I'm going to use parentheses to show you that so that it doesn't get confusing, because if I were to put a 3 without parentheses, it would look like 33. But this is not 33. This is 3 times 3, which is 9. And then I'm going to take this, plug it in here. In the place of y, I'm going to plug in 3. We know that 3 divided by 3 is 1, or the fraction 3 over 3 is also 1. For these problems, you have 2 variables that you're plugging in here. Same idea. You take the problem, and then in the place of y, you're going to put a 4, because y equals 4. And then in the place of z, you're going to put a 2, and then you're going to add. You can do that here as well. For the multiplication one, you're going to take the problem. I always like to put parentheses at least around one of them, so that when you go and plug it in, it's easier to see. So this is 4 times 2, which would be 8. You could solve these two as well. You're just subtracting and then dividing. Now in this problem here, we have one variable, but we have it next to a number. So remember, when you have a letter and a number together, the number is called the coefficient and the letter is the variable. And when they're right next to each other, it is multiplication. So you always have to get comfortable with that part being multiplication. And then since I know z is 2, I'm going to plug it in. 2. Okay, and before I can add, remember, order of operations tells me I must multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. Now I'm just going to add 3, and I get 9. In this problem, you have 2 variables. So I'm going to plug in. First, I'm going to put my parentheses around the variable in this here, so that one of them has parentheses. And then I'm going to plug in my numbers. So this is 3 times z, which is 2. Right, I'm getting my value from here. And then I'm going to add y, which is 1. And again, before you are allowed to add those numbers, you've got to multiply 3 times 2, which is 6. Add 1, 7. So keep going through these. Oh, this next one, I'll go over it as well. There's some more challenge problems here. So you have a set of parentheses. So first, before you do anything, just plug in the numbers. Substitute them in. So z is 2, and then plus y is 1. Now, if you have parentheses, remember parentheses is always first inside the parentheses. Unless you don't have an operation, which is why, even though I have parentheses around this 2, there's no operation with it. That's why you don't need to worry about that. But there is an operation here, addition. So we're going to add 2 plus 1, which is 3. And now we multiply those out. That's 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So again, plug in the numbers, solve inside the parenthesis, and then multiply. In this problem, we're adding 3 different numbers up, but same idea. You have all 3 there. I think you can figure that one out. Let's go ahead and do this one here. We got 3 numbers to plug in. Same idea, though. We're just going to plug them in. Z is 3, and then y is 2. If I just leave it like that, that's incorrect, right? That's 32. That's not right. So that's why it's really important that we put those parentheses in. And then G is 1. Keep going. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 equals 7. And then the last one here, you can plug in the numbers as well. Solve inside the parentheses. I will do one of them. So I'm going to get rid of something up here so you can see this problem. Okay. So we're plugging in all the numbers first. So Z is 3, parentheses, Y plus G. This becomes 3 times 3, which equals 9. And then these are some little picture problems here. So we did this in our Pear Deck yesterday. You just substitute the number in. So number 1 is 1 plus 3. Plus 3, which is 4, and so on. I'm going to leave that blank though for this. This one's a little challenge problem. Try and figure out based on adding them up which one is not correct. So I'll let you try that on your own. Basically, you're just going to figure out the values of each thing, plug them in, see if you can solve. Same thing here. We did one of these 2 types of problems in the warm-up or in the beginning of yesterday's Pear Deck. So in this problem here, I see that 3 of the same thing. So 3 Jigglypuffs, that's the Pikachu character, 3 J's equal 39. And they all have to be the same. So I know that 3 times 13 equals 39. So I know that the Jigglypuffs equal 13. And then I could use that to figure out the Pikachu. 13 plus the Pikachu P equals 16. So that tells me that the Pikachu is 3, right? Because 13 plus 3 is 16. And then I know that 2 Pikachus equals 2 times 3, which is 6. Okay, and then, so one of these is 6, add them up. 6 plus 6 is 12. So the final answer is 12. So you're going to use that logic to do the same thing here. This one's a little bit more challenging. I'll leave it and not do it here on the video. And if you try it, just show some work here and you'll get credit for trying.